All right, Steelers Nation, it's time to take a look at the, offense and the state of the nation for your Pittsburgh Steelers offense. You know, Mike, this is about going to Super Bowls. This is about winning championships in Pittsburgh. It ain't about going 508-8 and being happy with it. It's about taking advantage of your future Hall of Fame quarterback's health in Ben Roethlisberger and making a run for the AFC title and going to the Super Bowl. Mike, as we head into this 2020 campaign, Tom Brady is now down in Tampa Bay. The AFC is pretty wide open. You got any outside dark horses for the Super Bowl in the AFC this year?
Well, I mean, you got the Chiefs and you got the Ravens. And maybe the Browns get it going again.
I hate to say the Bengals too, because they got Burrows.
No, I think they're away a little bit. You know, it's a rookie still. He's a rookie.
They're the Bengals.
I'll tell you who's a sleeper in the AFC. He might be Denver. They got Melvin Gordon. They got three great receivers. They had Cortland Sutton, and they ended up drafting two receivers, the one out of Alabama and one out of Penn State. So, and they got a second-year quarterback in Jake Locker. So I think the Broncos could be a good sleeper coming out of the AFC.
However, your Pittsburgh Steelers have as good a shot going into training camp to go and seize the Vince Lombardi as anybody else does if you have a healthy Ben Roethlisberger at the helm. So, Mike, let's just assume Big Ben is good to go for all 16 games, and he's putting up remarkable numbers like he did in 2018. The Steelers have now built an offensive unit, a revamped offensive unit around him. Let's start with the tight ends. First of all, if you remember the name Ladarius Green, they gave him a whole big chunk of money, $4.5 million signing bonus and $20 million. That guy was a bum. He never got out of the training room. His ankle was wrapped in ice the whole season. I think Ebron is going to be the same situation. I see no upside in bringing Ebron in as tight end.
Well, you know, he's a good route runner. He's a great pass catcher. Good red zone threat. You know, he's produced for the Colts the past few years. You've got Vance McDonald still. So I think having multiple tight ends as weapons, I don't think he's the blocking type tight end the way Vance McDonald is. But again, you know, having those good tight ends, it adds another piece on the field. You know, I love having two tight ends, a running back and two receivers on the field. It puts the defense in a bind because a lot of them are shifting into that more of a hybrid type defense. And now when you have two tight ends on the field, you can actually run downhill and force them to put the linebackers on. And now you got a route runner out there with Ebron. So I actually like that. Look at you said the GOAT down in Tampa. Look at the Buccaneers now. They've got O.J. Howard. They got Rob Gronkowski. And they got Cameron Brate. They've got three good tight ends.
I'm not saying you don't need two good tight ends. You might as well go to the Galloping Moose and Zach Gentry. All I'm saying is I think Ebron is going to be another Ladarius Green, a waste of money. I'm not saying you don't need two solid tight ends.
He's a huge red zone threat, and that's what they got him for. We'll see if he produces the way he has with the Colts the past few years. Especially with fantasy football, he's big for that.
The guy selling beer up in section 556 in Hines Field has a better season coming than Ebron. So I'm going to move on now to running back.
We'll see.
All right. Running back by committee. Running backs who aren't hitting the hole. Running backs who are hurt. An off season for the run game in Pittsburgh, a city that's known for a pounded out run game, then go to the pass. Last year was an aberration. Nobody put up remarkable numbers. Connor gets hurt. So let's talk about this running back core. Coach Tomlin is already on record, Mike. He says, I ain't doing running back by committee again. I want to find the best guy and put him on the field.
Well, he says that, and they say James Conner is the starting running back right now, but I don't think that'll be the case. I think it'll be a more running back by committee type team. I don't think they have that star running back right now unless the rookie steps up. But Jalen Samuels is not big enough to carry the load on first and second down. Yeah, he's a good scat back, but again, downhill running, you're going to bring Benny Snell and you're going to have James Conner. James Conner, I don't think he can stay healthy. He hasn't stayed healthy all season the past few years. He's a hard runner, and he's not big enough. So unless he bulks up and the way he runs, or unless he learns to run smarter and protect himself some, then you're going to have a running back by committee. It's the only way.
Yeah, situational football. Definitely about that with the running backs. Look, TJ Watt's brothers here now is Derek. Well, first of all, they may have paid him a little bit too much money, but I like the fullback position, the old school fullback, and this guy is 6'2". He's a snot knocker like his brother. All the Watt brothers could go play in a rodeo and wrestle cows or something, or steers or something. He's a tough cookie at fullback. To add him into this backfield rotation is going to do two things for you. It's going to help with the blocking on this running game. Second of all, pass protection. Old man time playing quarterback, Ben Roethlisberger, you got to give him all the help you can, Mike, in pass protection. And Derek Watt is one hell of a pass blocker.
Yeah, again, but he's not. How big of a threat is he in the pass game? When you're throwing the ball on third down, I would rather have Jalen Samuels in there or James Conner, guys that can get out and maybe put some pressure on the defense and catch the football as well. I see him more as a special teams guy, but also maybe the goal line package, maybe a short yardage package with him in front. You got Benny Snell in the back, or maybe you move Benny Snell to a fullback and help out a little bit as well. Again, obviously he's a
How about this on goal line?
He's a big special teams guy as well.
Zach Banner. Well, this is goal line. Zach Banner with Derek Watt behind him, man, and just pounded at the end zone 3 times.
Hey, we'll see what happens.
They're going to move some kind of earth. You're going to move some kind of earth.
With Ben back, you're not going to see that. If Ben learns to, hey, let's not throw the ball so much. You said have Ben have some great numbers back in 2018. I would like to see Ben have some just average numbers passing the football, because then with that defense you have, you're going to have more wins. You want to play ball control, and I know how Ben likes to air it out and spread the ball around and kind of let, he's a gunslinger a little bit, but again, with that defense, I'd like to see him protect the football a little bit more, not put it in the air as much, rely on the run game, and let the defense keep games close to the end, because now you have the veteran quarterback that can pull the games out in the end, whereas last year you had the young guys that maybe at the end of the game couldn't quite produce the way Ben can.
And what it's really going to come down to with your offensive game plan, has Randy Fiechner matured as an offensive coordinator? Matt Canada now has come in to lead his expertise. 2 really good football minds, but the mark of any great football mind, Mike, is can you take your team to the next level? Can you create strategies that keeps the defensive unit guessing what you're doing? I like the running back situation as we head into training camp. If you get a healthy James Conner, and he does run hard for you Yunzers out there, Mike, they were saying, oh, he gets hurt too much. Trade James Conner. Gets hurt. He gets hurt because he runs hard.
Well, he runs hard. He's got to learn to protect himself sometimes. Sometimes you got to put the head down. Sometimes maybe protect the body. Emmitt Smith ran out of bounds a couple times here and there,
Right.
So it's not always about, trying to get every single yard you can. Hey, when it's third down, yeah, but, sometimes protect your body a little bit. It's a long season.
We're going to find out what happens with that running back situation, but I think with the addition of McFarland, the addition of Watt, you're in a little bit better position than what we were when we ended the 2019 campaign. All right, Mike, the big hogs on the offensive line, a fond farewell to, one of the team leaders, one of the great guys in Pittsburgh Steelers offensive line history, Ramon Foster. He's headed down the road. He was great. You'd hear him in Latrobe. He was one of those guys, cracking on the other players, busting on the other players, making those dog days of training camp just a little bit more bearable and fun. Ramon Foster will always be loved by Steelers Nation. B.J. Finney has prospered from the coaching of Mike Munchak and Surratt, and he's off now. He's gotten paid. Matt Fiedler, is he ready to step up and become a premier right tackle in this league? Chuks Okafor, are his feet going to start moving along with his hands? Is he going to develop? Zach Banner, I hope he's dropped at least 20 pounds. There is such a, Mike, you played in the league behind some big hogs. There is such a thing as a little too big if you can't move your feet under your body, right?
Yeah, you got to be able to move a little bit, and that also actually helps the run game as well, getting out and getting on those linebackers.
Yes, and if this is a Pittsburgh Steelers team that, one, is going to improve on their run blocking from last season, and two, keep old man Rivers' uniform clean this year, which is paramount, keeping Ben upright, keeping old River healthy.
I thought you were talking about Phillip in Indianapolis for a second, but okay, I see where you're going.
No, I'm talking about old man Three Rivers.
Okay.
Old man Three Rivers. So we're hoping that this offensive line will come along. Again, Pouncey is back. The captain Villanueva is back. You got the big bulldozer grader Dotson coming out of Louisiana Lafayette. So we'll see if this Steelers offensive line performs a little bit better this year. All right, as we take a look at the Pittsburgh Steelers in 2020 campaign, the biggest problem, other than Ben Roethlisberger going down last year, Mike, was the inability for, well, first of all, for Juju to stay healthy, but more so for Juju to be the #1 receiver.
You know, Juju's not #1, and it proved it last year. So now you have an opportunity for a guy to maybe come in with Claypool to stretch the defense and take the pressure off of Juju. I mean, they could double team him last year, so now maybe they got to worry about Claypool going deep, throwing the jump ball, or that speed he's got on the vertical threat. Again, he struggles on breaking routes in and out and getting in and out of the routes, but maybe he's not going to be a route runner. Maybe they're going to keep Deontay Johnson and Switzer underneath. You still have James Washington. Claypool's going to blow up the top, and maybe Juju can get some one-on-one coverages, get some matchups on some safeties or some linebackers.
You know, he's a living legend here in Pittsburgh, and a lot of us are pulling for him to be in the Hall of Fame one day, because I think Hines Ward deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I'm not going to put Claypool in that same category right now, but one of the things that endeared Hines Ward to this city, where they like to knock the snot out of people, is Claypool likes to hit. He likes to block. When you take his 4.4 speed on that 6'4" frame and put a nasty attitude on him also, that he likes to hit people, oh boy, now you got something.
Well, the key is he's not going to be going in hitting linebackers. He's going to be blocking corners.
Juju wasn't supposed to hit linebackers either, but ask Burfitt about it.
Yeah, and it was a penalty, so you know.
I don't care. He hit him.
And they adjusted the rules, and you can't come blindsiding in now. But you know, the corners are getting bigger, so he can block on the outside. He can blow off the top. But again, I think he'll be big on special teams as well. He led Notre Dame in tackles on the punt and kickoff, so he will be running down the field, and he likes to tackle as well.
So if you throw the new kid out of Notre Dame into the mix, Juju coming back healthy and mentally motivated to show that last year was a fluke with him getting hurt and having an off season. Throw in Deontay Johnson, who I think is going to just wow this year. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I can see that go route with Deontay Johnson flying down the field, moving Juju to the flag, and doing whatever you want with Claypool.
No, I like Deontay Johnson. He has the speed to kind of go deep. He can kind of break the routes off. He can get in and out quick. And I think he could be the new, the safety valve, kind of like, I like him as more of the Antonio Brown type. Get a quick screen out to him, let him work in space, and let him run after the catch.
James Washington was the Fred Biletnikoff winner, which is a hard thing to win in college football. Think of all the players that are out there playing wide receiver, Mike. Mm-hmm. And for one player, one wide receiver, to be elevated to that status, which is basically saying you're the best wide receiver in college football, the Heisman for wide receivers with the Biletnikoff Award, he's not reached his potential yet. First of all, you had him jumping like a kangaroo for a couple games a couple years ago. Ben's got to tell him, what are you jumping for? Run your routes. He was very slow to start last year. Mike and I covered training camp from day one, and it was very obvious to us that Mr. Washington had no hands and was dropping everything.
Yeah, he needed to get on the jugs machine, but he came up big as the season went on, and he's learning that you don't need to jump for every ball. Just keep on running and let it kind of fall to you. Now every once in a while you have to go up and get it, but he seems to be that guy that likes to kind of make the routine catch a little bit more difficult than it needs to be. Again, the maturity, hopefully that disappears.
It's got to come from here to here with James Washington this year. Whatever last year was okay, and it was an improvement on the 2018 campaign. But James Washington has, in my opinion, has to go from here to here this year. Again, it's about winning championships, Mike. It's not about going 8-8. It's about taking advantage of Ben Roethlisberger, your future Hall of Famer, potentially being healthy for 16 games, maybe his last 16 games of all time, and getting to the Super Bowl. One of those components that has to happen, the wide receiving core, breaking it down. James Washington has to go from here to be better. I want to see what Deontay Johnson really can do. Juju Smith, I think, was an aberration last year. He had double teams on him. He got hurt. People were taking shots at him. Claypool has, well, the potential to be the next Hines Ward. That all sounds pretty good to me, man.
Yeah, you know, Juju's obviously had a rough year last year. He's got to protect the football a little better, too. When the game's on the line, you know, he fumbled against the Ravens at home, like he did against the Saints the year before. But he will have a much bigger. I think Claypool will help take that load, and obviously if Washington steps up and plays a bigger role, and Deontay Johnson plays a bigger role, that'll help Juju out even more.
And don't forget about, well, a guy that Mike and I really like. You and Steelers Nation were boo-bahing this guy last year. I like Ryan Switzer.
You know, Switzer, he was banged up a little bit last year. He didn't get as much playing time because I think Ben was out. I think Ben really likes him as a safety valve. He was just kind of doing punt returns and kick returns for a while. But again, him back healthy, maybe the quickness in and out, they find a role for him at play the slot, maybe like a Wes Welker, Julian Edelman type role. Yep. But he's a great safety valve for Ben, and then I think Ebron will help in the passing game. I
don't think Ebron's going to help anybody, but I will say this: if you start getting Jalen Samuels becoming the player he can too, much like Washington, I need to see Jalen Samuels, and he did take a step forward, but if he can go to this level next year, oh boy, a healthy Ben Roethlisberger, this offensive line, this running back by committee, this team may just very well be playing right here against the Kansas City Chiefs for the AFC Championship game.
And again, the key to that is a healthy Ben Roethlisberger.